first time? Look at that. That's great. Well, welcome. We're doing this program every Wednesday leading up to our 60th anniversary. And we just released on the website, the Disneyland AP website, all the titles for the rest of the weeks we're going to do through July. So check them out. We've got a lot of cool programs coming up. So it is awards season, and I did want to mention, some of you may have seen this. Anybody see this postcard that we distributed pretty liberally throughout? Okay. So this is only going until March 2nd. It's such a great exhibit. Has anyone been up to see this? It's up in Wilshire, Hollywood. I see one hand, a few. They have so many great costumes, not just Disney, but it's a wonderful, and this is going to be where the museum is going to be for the Academy. So it's really cool. They offered Disneyland annual pass holders a discount. So go see that. It closes March 2nd. So get up there soon. It's really cool. Now tonight we have a very special program for you. Being that it is awards season, I asked an incredible colleague to come down and tell you a little bit about what he does and share 4 very, very special shorts with you. So let me just introduce him. This fella has been with Disney over 25 years. He leads the restoration team, so any DVDs, Blu-rays you have at home, it's because of him. And he's kind enough to come down here and share his story. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Theo Gluck.
Hey, hi everyone. Wow, thanks for coming out on the school night. It's great. So as Walter said, there's the Academy Awards season, especially this coming Sunday. And we figured it would be a good opportunity to sort of explore some of the Academy Award-winning shorts that the studio's done that we recently restored. These are some shorts that people probably haven't really seen or heard of, but they're really interesting and important in the history of the studio. So, to my handy dandy, I feel like a weatherman up here. And a Mickey front coming over. So, first and foremost, this is not what we consider restoration at the studio. So, I want to make sure we get that straight right away. This is... Some people probably think that's what we do because, the internet's full with people who know better than all of us, but no. So one of the reasons we can do the work that we do is that our negatives still survive is that they were photographed in the Technicolor format, which when you saw Wizard of Oz or Gone with the Wind or Singing in the Rain, used this really funky camera that actually ran 3 pieces of film simultaneously in it. Really, really nutty. Well, Disney did a similar thing. Starting in 1937, we started with that format, but went to something called successive exposure, where a single piece of black and white film now is run through a red filter, then a green filter, then a blue filter. So if Pinocchio is 120,000 frames in a print that you might see in the cinema, what we have to scan are 360,000 frames of black and white film. These are black and white records of color values. And I won't wait for your heads to explode on that one. So once you've captured all of that, you can now start generating elements that have what they call complementary colors, or yellow, cyan, and magenta. Sound familiar to anyone who has a color printer that drives them crazy? Okay, same concept applies, and by using colored dyes in different strips of film, Technicolor used to mean putting these all together, and the print that you saw in the cinema was effectively a moving lithograph. And that's what we do, albeit digitally now. And you get some pretty amazing results. And this, in fact, is what one of the digital frames from Bambi looks like. Now, this is very rare, and a lot of people have never seen this. Consider yourselves lucky. This is what the negative on Bambi looks like when you scan it. Everything that you see that's white and moving is dirt that was on the cells, on the multiplane camera, on the glass. All of that was photographed in with the original, when they actually made the movie. Anytime you see red, green, or blue, that means there's dirt on the negative because every image you're looking at is a triple exposure. So look here at the owl. Looks like someone sneezed on him. But you take a little time and luckily support from the studio and you wind up with something that looks like this.
Well, this is quite an occasion. Yes, sure. It isn't every day a prince is born. You're to be congratulated.
Yes, congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Come on. Wake up. We have company.
love that. That's so beautiful. So we're here to talk about some shorts, but not these Mickey Mouse shorts. The studio had a slew of Oscar winners over the years, and we were first people to really use Technicolor in a wide way. And other than two of these shorts, To Fear His Face with Donald and Len DePaul, which we'll see tonight, none of these really had any of the major characters in them, too. They're sort of standalone individual shorts on their own. Winnie the Pooh and the Blustery Days, like a 28-minute featurette. And of course, it all started with Oswald, and I take it some of you have been to some of these before. So you probably saw Dave Bossert sing on Oswald recently. And Dave is part of our restoration team as well. And we've worked with him on some of these projects. So we found most of the Walt Oswalds. There are 26 of them. I think we now have 17 of them or 18 of them. And of course, everything changed for the company once people really got a look at Mickey and Plane Crazy and Steamboat Willie. And there were about 452 shorts that were done. 105 were black and white, the rest are color. So one of the things you have to realize is that the shorts had a long life. In fact, longer than when they first came out. So when the studio left RKO and went to Buena Vista and created the Buena Vista releasing entity, they mangled the shorts. The negatives were cut, and a lot of the stuff was lost. So you take a 1935 short out of the vaults at the Library of Congress, this is the first thing you'll see, which is from the 1950s, which certainly doesn't belong there. And that's the wrong card. And that is not exactly compelling artwork for the beginning of Mickey's first color film. But because we have these surviving in other areas and other digital copies, we're able to now reconstruct. In addition to preserve and restore, reconstruction is very, very key in this. So it's a United Artists short that opened with the Mickey Sunburst. It now has the Mickey Sunburst. It now has his correct card at the head. And working with Dave and his team, we recreated what a card would have looked like at the time for the band concert. Because we know, for example, Mickey's Polo team, released around the same time, had a similar look. So we had enough of a way of realizing that's probably what the band concert looked like, because that doesn't survive on the original negative at the studio. There's a Donald Duck short called On Ice. The only problem is it's actually a Mickey Mouse short. But for some reason the negative has Donald Duck attached to it. It now has the correct United Artists card. And again, working with feature animation special projects, we recreated this piece of artwork to is evocative of the kind of style that would have been at the time. So that's very important. So we're going to see 4 shorts this evening. The first one being Flowers and Trees. It's the first commercial use of Technicolor, 3-strip Technicolor, the first color film at the studio, the first film at the studio to win an Oscar, and it was also the first time that the Motion Picture Academy actually awarded an Oscar to a short subject. All of these have come from the original camera negatives. That's me in 39-degree weather at the nitrate vaults of the Library of Congress. And you go into that room and it has, well, there you can see Fun and Fancy Free and Dumbo, Bambi. All of the negatives survive. They're basically kept in deep, deep storage in deep cold. Next, we're going to take a look at the Old Mill, which is the first use of the multiplane camera. And in some ways, it's kind of a test bed for Bambi as well. This also won a Science and Technology Award, which was amazing for its day. This is a quick view of what the multiplane camera looks like. We have a little bit of footage for you from Reluctant Dragon showing it at work. And if anyone's been to either the studio or the Disney Family Museum out in San Francisco, a couple of the cameras are on display there. But they were really amazing pieces of equipment built without the benefit of lasers or computers. Really extraordinary work. Len DePaul, which features Mickey and Pluto, which is a terrific, terrific short. And then finally, well, everyone faced television back in the 1950s, and you basically combated that with big new formats like CinemaScope. And Walt was always eager to embrace new technologies. And in fact, Toot Whistle Plunkin' Boo was the world's first CinemaScope short. It's also one of our first stereophonic sound films, which sounds a little different in here. My apologies because of the sound, way the sound is working. But it's still a great, great film. And really funny and very different look for the studio animation at the time. And it was part of the Adventures in Music series, which also had the Melody short, which was 3D, one of our very few 3D shorts that we ever did. So in closing, I'd like to say, never forget what Walt said, which was we should always remember that it all began with a mouse. And I'd like to say at the studio, we're very interested, and for us, it's all about a mouse sanctuary, not a mouse trap, because we want to keep this mouse around with us for a very, very long time indeed. So what we're going to see tonight, again, are Flowers and Trees, Old Mill, and Linda Paw. Toot Whistle, Plumpkin Boom. These are some of the people who did the work with us. We really have some great partners back up in Burbank. And the Disney Sound Department did all the audio restoration. And I believe we have a couple minutes for some questions, Walter. So if anyone has any...
We've got time just for 2 or 3 questions. Anyone have a question for Theo Gluck? Now is your opportunity. Don't all jump up. Well.
Yes, sir.
I noticed it said on some of them that they were filmed in both Cineluxe and in flat.
Yes, the question was, do we have some CinemaScope and some flat? And yes, in the early days of CinemaScope, we made sure that we could hit cinemas that didn't have the equipment. So Lady and the Tramp, in fact, is entirely shot scope and flat as well, too. So it's very rare that studios did that, but we did that for about 10 shorts, and then later on we just only did one version.
Okay, 2 more questions. Anyone?
Oh, someone back there? Yeah, over there. Okay. Yes? Where did Walt go to school?
Where did Walt go to school? You're kicking it to me for that one, huh?
Yeah.
Well, he grew up, he was born in Chicago.
Went to school.
Born in Chicago, but he spent most of his boyhood in Marceline, Missouri. So that is where he went to school, Marceline. And you can go visit sometime. It kind of looks like our Main Street here. Cool place. But questions for Theo. One more.
What's the first film you restored?
What's the first film we restored? That I did? In the new digital age, what we've been doing, the first one was Bambi. But I've been with the studio since 1991. We did work on Pinocchio back then. And the thing is that every few years newer technologies become available to us. So, that's why we keep these negatives still carefully controlled at the Library of Congress, because it sounds bad, but I've actually touched Snow White 4 times in 25 years. But that's because we can go back to the original materials. And each one is a marked difference each time. So, I guess
on that classy note.
On that note, seriously, thank you all for coming. Really enjoyed these. They're 4 very unusual shorts that, again, a lot of people really have never seen. And thank you for coming and enjoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Theo Gluck, thank you.